In this tutorial, we'll dye cotton fabric with French broom flowers and leaves. French broom is a woody shrub that is native to the Mediterranean region. I have access to Genista monspessulana, which grows on the property line by the curb. My research on this species of broom indicates that leaves yield a green dye, but nothing about the flowers or a combination of leaves and flowers. Other research indicates that Scotch broom yields pale yellow or beige, but dyer's broom yields brilliant yellows and yellow-greens. Before we start, it's important to say that French broom is highly invasive in the United States. The flowers are an intense yellow and quite beautiful, but the shrub can quickly overrun native vegetation without providing much in return for the local wildlife. Broom is a nitrogen fixer that does well in poor soil and is a prolific seed producer. We have a self-seeded French broom bush at the edge of our property that I'm trying to eradicate. I decided to experiment dyeing with the flowers, but do not advocate planting or maintaining French broom. For this project, I used basic dye equipment and a well-ventilated workspace. I used a soaking pot, a dye pot, a heat source, and a candy thermometer to keep the dye bath at a consistent temperature. I also used a strainer and a cheesecloth to remove the petals and leaves from the dye bath. Supplies include French broom petals, lemon, a gallon of water plus more as needed, prepared cotton fabric, scoured, gallnut mordant, and alum brightener. For safety, use a face mask and rubber gloves. The weight of fabric was about 11 ounces, which includes 2 dish towels, 2 napkins, 2 large handkerchiefs, 2 small handkerchiefs, and a dishcloth. The fabric was scoured and mordanted. I used a gallnut mordant followed by a bath of 20% WOF alum and 8% soda ash as a brightener. This differs from our usual values of 15% alum and 2% soda ash. An experiment. I collected about 12 ounces of French broom flowers and leaves, so the WOF percent for 11 ounces of fabric was about 109%. I gathered the flowers throughout April and froze them to preserve the color. The supplies for dyeing include 12 ounces French broom flowers, half a lemon, a gallon of water, and 11 ounces prepared cotton fabric. Let's get started. First, extract the dye using our basic process. Rinse the petals to remove dust and insects. Add the petals to a gallon of water in a stainless steel pot. Stir in juice of half a lemon and its rind. Bring the temperature to 160 degrees and simmer for an hour. My equipment isn't that controllable, so I typically cook between 180 and 200 degrees. Your color results may differ from mine if you are able to maintain the lower temperature. Soak petals and lemon rind for 3 days. I'm hoping to extract all the color I can. Strain petals out of the dye bath using cheesecloth. Return the dye bath to the stainless steel pot. The resulting liquor is a pale yellow or amber, depending on the light, and has a noxious smell. I tested the pH to learn more. It registers a 3, which is quite acidic, and may be from the lemon. Dye the fabric using our basic process. Add wet prepared fabric and simmer for an hour, keeping the temperature between 180 and 200 degrees. Stir periodically to make sure dye is distributed as evenly as possible. If necessary, add more water to cover the fabric. The color from this French broom species is not very strong or dramatic. Let soak for an hour or overnight. In pursuit of saturated color, I let it soak for 3 days. Squeeze out excess dye from the fabric. Rinse the fabric in cool water until the water runs clear. Run the fabric through the washing machine's rinse and spin cycles using cold water. Let the towels air dry. 2 weeks later, wash the towels in pH-neutral soap like Synthropol and hang to dry. The resulting color is very pale yellow, and that is being generous.